Hello again. I am just so happy to celebrate Mother's Day with you. It's been a long time since I've been in an in-person service in a Unity Center, and I'm just so delighted to be here. So I would like to begin this morning with a question. Why is a computer so smart? Because it listens to its motherboard. She knew it. All right. So we all know that's a joke, but let's consider what we would want in a human motherboard. In other words, what do we really want in a mother? Recently, I was having a talk with a longtime friend. Her name is Claudia. And we were talking about the state of the world. And it seems like there's a pervasive feeling of pain everywhere these days. So Claudia and I decided to explore the opposite of that. Like, what would it feel like to have the opposite of that pervasive feeling of pain? So we thought, well, it needs to somehow have this feeling of belonging and of delight, of joy, and empowerment. It needs to have all that sort of wrapped into one. So we were kind of fishing for words, and I said, well, wouldn't it be kind of like a feeling of wonderful oneness presence? And Claudia said, would you repeat those words? I said, okay, let's see if I can remember what I said. Wonderful oneness presence. And then she repeated those words back to me. She said, wonderful oneness presence. Wouldn't we all like that feeling to be the pervasive lived experience in our time? How does that sound? Yeah. So after sort of landing those vibrant words, then Claudia and I went on to dream together about creating a community at my property in Costa Rica where we will dwell in what? Wonderful oneness presence. Right. And friends, isn't that why you come to Unity in Marin? To be together in wonderful oneness presence? Yeah, and yet it appears that humanity is screaming for that presence and doesn't even know what they're screaming for. Is that right? To me it feels like we're calling out mother like many soldiers do when they're wounded and in pain. Can you see our world kind of like that right now? Like, where's the mother? And so, if we want to really live that presence, it's hard to watch the news these days. Because often I find when I watch the news, there's something sort of primal that comes up in me that makes me want to call out, Mother, show us the light. Or after seeing some uses of power on the news, I want to say, oh, Mother, teach us to use power with love. Or other things I see on the news. Oh, Mother, bring our hearts home to loving kindness. In the news too. Yeah. So when we talk about, is this going in and out a little bit? Is there anything I need to do? I didn't really hear what he said. Excuse me. Okay. Now, where was I? Oh, yes, when we talk about what we want in a mother, don't we want that wonderful oneness presence? This sort of all-encompassing energy of safety and worthiness without question. So, friends, do you know anyone who radiates that kind of presence? A kind of presence that's so strong that it's like contagious in the room? Do you know anyone like that in your life? Perhaps your mother. Or perhaps not. Because we know that many of us have struggled with our mothers, and we may be struggling still. We know that they are responsible for our childhoods, and yet we also know that they're never to blame. Isn't that right? Responsible, but not to blame. And so, friends, when we think about people like that, was there someone, if not your mother, was there a sibling or a teacher or someone who embraced you with that oneness presence that felt like mother love? How many of you had somebody in your life like that? Yeah. Grandma. Yeah. Well, Myrtle Fillmore, who was co-founder of Unity with her husband, Charles. I'm sure most of you know the story, unless you're a newcomer today. You know, she is known as Mother of Unity. And she was one of those kind of people that radiated wonderful oneness presence. Now, I never had the privilege of meeting Myrtle. She'd passed before I came along. But I feel deeply connected to her. I got to know her through her writing and also what other people had written about her. But my connection with Myrtle is really more heart to heart than anything else. Because I'm passionate about teaching people to be completely connected. And Myrtle embodied that. Myrtle embodied that. So I feel just in such admiration of all the ways that she was connected. She had a very real connection with spirit in a way that many people never experience. For example, she took affirmations to a whole new level. You know, most people just repeat affirmations, but not Myrtle. Myrtle said these words. She said, "In a flash, I saw that I could talk to all the parts of my body, to the life in the parts of my body. I could talk to them." You see, that wasn't the way people were doing affirmations. That was an advancement, friends. That was an evolution of consciousness to actually talk to your body in a loving, connected way. And Myrtle was connected to her feelings and her needs. as we saw in her attention to her own healing process. She was also connected to other people. She was empathically connected, which we know from all of her healing letters that she wrote to so many people, all the empathy that she gave and how she helped people to heal. So you see, she was connected to self, connected to others, connected to spirit. And she even took prayer life to another level. She made it more real. How? By talking to a picture of Jesus. Do you all know this is part of the unity lore about Myrtle? That as a way to focus in prayer, she would talk to a picture of Jesus. Now, we know Myrtle knew that the Christ was within her. She knew that picture of Jesus was not a real picture of Jesus. But you see, she talked out her prayers as if connecting with a friend. You see how she was connected on all levels? And in my view, that's why Myrtle radiated this wonderful oneness presence, because she was connected. And she took connection to a very practical level, you see, by talking to her body. By talking to Jesus, she made it more real. That's what she did to become completely connected. So now I'm going to do a little drama where I turn myself into Myrtle. And I hope that this will help you see how it is that she came to be a person who radiated this wonderful oneness presence. Now, I'm going to be acting out a time in her life. I'm going to move this out of the way for a moment. At this time in Myrtle's life, she had healed quite a bit, but she was still having some significant health challenges. She was not totally healed, and she was not happy about it. I'm just feeling so discouraged because I'm still not healthy. So frustrating because I've searched my consciousness for any thought or belief that could be blocking the flow of divine life in me. And I don't... Did I do it again? Oh. Okay. Thought I cut out there for a moment. I'm back to Myrtle now. Okay. You know, it's exasperating because I know that the divine life in me will heal everything. And I've been doing this so long. And I just don't know what's blocking me from having what I want, which is total healing. I want to be healthy. So now I'm going to bless and appreciate all the cells and organs in my body. I know they are all divinely designed. My lungs, strong. Breathing me, breathing the breath of life, divine intelligence, and my stomach full of the energy of God. My eyes bright, like the eyes of spirit. I just heard the words, look among your virtues. look among my virtues? What does that mean? You mean look among my virtues for what's blocking me? That doesn't make sense. Oh my God. I always thought it was a virtue to keep my feelings to myself. I've been swallowing my feelings and they're making me sick. What I'm feeling on the inside is not what I'm showing on the outside. I'm going to learn to deal with my feelings, to transform my feelings. And then I know I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to have health at last. Oh, thank you, God. Thank you for that insight. Thank you. Love Myrtle. Yeah, that touches me every time I do it. So you see, Myrtle came to realize that stuffing her feelings, being nice and smiling when she didn't feel like smiling, that was a disconnect. That was not allowing the divine life to just flow through her. And so when she stopped doing that and transformed her feelings, when she got completely connected, you could say, she healed, and then her wonderful oneness presence grew even stronger. So, friends, when it comes to what I want to see in mothers, it is the ability to shift from disconnection to connection like Myrtle did. To me, that is the most important quality that mothers can embody. And it is what causes them to radiate that wonderful wellness, oneness presence, and wellness as well. So that's what I want to see in mothers. And back when COVID was new, when we were all in lockdown, I got a call from a woman named Diana. She said, I've heard about this connection practice that you teach. Someone told me about it, and she said, I am just really in a desperate situation here, and I thought maybe that learning it might help me. She said, I've lost my job. I'm a single mom. So I've got no money coming in. And I have 2 teenage daughters that I adopted from Guatemala. And we're in this little apartment with no money, nothing to do, and these teens are driving me crazy. And I don't want to be mean, but I'm just, up to here. I can't deal with this. And so we offered Diana a scholarship to learn the connection practice in a 7-hour online course. So in this online course, Diana received these boards that you see back here. And by the way, this is my beloved husband, Ricardo. We'll give him a hand for being here and helping us. So Diana gets these connection practice boards in the mail and a manual. She's in Illinois. And she takes the course online. And about a week later, she calls me up and she says, you would not believe what happened. I said, well, tell me. She said, my oldest daughter, Audrey, is a germaphobe. She's been a germaphobe all of her life, terrified of germs. And I've always told her, don't give germs your power. You have a strong immune system. There's nothing wrong with you. This is ridiculous. But did that ever make a difference? No. Audrey continued to be a germaphobe. So, as it turns out, Audrey is a food service worker in a nursing home. And she was home one day last week when she got the news that they had their first case of COVID in the nursing home. And so Audrey comes to me and she says, "Mom, I cannot go back to work. I am terrified. I am not going to work." Now, you have to remember, this is a family with very little money. This is a family on the edge. And that money that was coming in from that job was important. But this time, Diana, instead of giving her daughter platitudes, said, "You know, honey, why don't we sit down and see if we can't work this out on these boards?" Okay? So I'm going to have to step up here now. And so when we use these boards to work out turmoil, it can be turmoil just within ourselves like it was with Audrey, or it might be a conflict with another person. But when we work out a problem, we put a trigger up here at the top, a challenge. And so for Audrey, the challenge was when I heard there was COVID in the nursing home. That was her trigger for all the negative feelings that started coming. So after Diana got Audrey to get her trigger down, then Audrey started naming all of her feelings and moving her feelings from here to over here. This is where we put the feelings. And so Audrey was afraid, and she was stressed, and she was confused, and she was torn because she knew her mama needed that money coming in. And she felt helpless as well. And then Diana had learned how to guess the needs of another person who's in turmoil. And so she began to guess the needs of her daughter. And so she guessed that Audrey needed physical safety. This is the needs magnets. That she needed physical safety, that she also needed emotional safety because she was so scared, that she needed support and stability and peace, reassurance. And then Diana said, "Okay, Audrey, of these needs here, which one would be your main need?" And Audrey said, "Well, it's physical safety." So we put that down in this slot here, physical safety, the main need. So then Diana had learned how to lead someone into heart-brain coherence. I'm guessing a lot of you already know about heart-brain coherence, but just in case you don't, it's when energetically we get the heart and the brain in sync so that we can access our best intelligence. So Diana had learned how to do that in the connection practice course, and so she's leading Audrey into coherence. And so she says, "Okay, Audrey, focus down in your heart, and now breathe as if breathing through the heart. And now feel appreciation for your kitty." And then when Audrey got into her happy place, you could say, her heart and brain now moved into sync. Then Audrey asked herself, "What do I need to know about my physical safety?" And in about a minute, she opens her eyes and she says, "Mom, what came to me is what it really is I'm scared to death." That's what it is. And this woman, who'd only had 7 hours of connection practice, I have to say, she was quite amazing. She said, "Okay, honey, well, let's just go ahead and put death right up here. When I think of death, I feel and I need." So they went through the whole process again. And this time, when we had some other needs here on the board, this time the main need was connection. She said, "You know what it is that I just feel like I would lose connection with everybody I love if I died. That's what's worrying me." All right, so now we got connection on the board. And so Diana said, "Well, let's go back and do another coherence and see if we can get another insight." She says, "All right, Mom. All right." So once again, heart focus, heart breathing, feeling of appreciation. And then Audrey asks herself, "What do I need to know about connection. And in a minute, she opens her eyes and she says, well, what came to me, Mom, was it was when Grandma died. Now, this is her adopted grandma. You know, I was just so connected to Grandma, and that's still troubling me. Diana says, okay, honey, let's put up here, when Grandma died, I felt and I needed. And this time, when she got finished, she got to the main need, which was to belong. To belong. And Diana says, okay, let's try for another insight. Let's just see what comes up when you focus on that. Heart focus, heart breathing, feeling of appreciation. What do I need to know about belonging? She opens her eyes and she says, Mom, I got it. It's all because my birth mother gave me away. I never felt like I belonged to you. But because you helped me go through all of this, for the first time I feel like I belong with you. And you know what? I can go to work now. So, friends, this mother learned how to get herself connected when she was disconnected, and now she has passed that on to her daughter. How to shift from disconnection to connection. Now, the steps here are actually quite similar to what Myrtle did. Think about it. Here we have, this is a self-empathy step, naming our feelings and needs, getting connected to our feelings and needs. And how did Myrtle do that? She talked to Jesus. She talked out her feelings and needs with Jesus. She got it out. She was a very private person, but she got it out to Jesus. Then what did Myrtle do? Myrtle went into coherence when she was blessing and appreciating all the cells of her body. When we move into that deep appreciation, the heart and brain move into sync. And we are in what's called heart-brain coherence. So Myrtle had to have been experiencing deep coherence when she was blessing and appreciating her body. And so it was when she was in coherence, when she was in a state of appreciation, suddenly she had an insight. Look among your virtues. So just like this little girl, Audrey, who had insight after insight, Myrtle had an insight. And she got completely connected. And as a result of that, the Unity Movement was founded on her total healing. And we're all here today because of that. You see what I'm saying? We're here today because Myrtle got completely connected. Amazing, isn't it? And so, friends, you see, we can learn how. We have more science and more understanding. We can make connection practical. Myrtle made it practical in many ways, by the way she did affirmations, by the way she talked to Jesus, but we can make it practical. We can go through the steps that are now informed by science, as well as our own intuitive knowing that empathy plus insight equals connection, gets us completely connected. So this is what I teach, and my trainers here and around the world teach, because we want to see parents and children and people everywhere know how to move from disconnection to connection. And I'm so excited right now because I've been teaching this basically 20 years, and we finally have a way to scale it. Guess what? We have these boards in digital form. We've piloted them in Gilroy in a school in 3 classrooms, 4th, 5th, and 6th grades. they're using digital connection practice boards. And one of the best things about that is it's on their laptops. They can access it at home and teach their parents. So, friends, can you imagine mothers and fathers and children all learning how to get connected? So, as they get completely connected, friends, what's going to happen? They're going to radiate what? Love. And what was this? Wonderful oneness presence. This feeling that we would love to have be pervasive in our time. That's how we get it. We get connected because we know how. Myrtle took it one step. We're taking a few steps further. Myrtle took a huge step, let's put it that way. We're taking some little steps further. So that, to me, is what I want to see for mothers everywhere. And so, friends, now Carolyn and Chuck are going to sing the prayer. And as they sing the prayer, I hope that you will radiate it out this time to the Divine Mother. Direct your prayer to the Divine Mother, that wonderful oneness presence. And let's let that mother love lift us up. Amen.